There's something magnetic about a woman who's aged with grace, not just in looks, but in energy, confidence, and the way she carries herself. It's not about makeup or fashion trends. It's about the habits that quietly shape her presence, the ones that make people stop and say, she's truly stunning. Let's talk about 5 habits that make you a stunning older woman. She chooses peace over proving. That's one of the most powerful shifts that happens as a woman matures. When you're younger, it's easy to feel like you have to constantly explain yourself, defend your choices, and prove your worth to everyone around you. You might have spent years trying to get people to understand you, to like you, to approve of what you say or do. But there comes a time in life when you realize that peace is far more valuable than being right. You stop chasing validation and start protecting your calm. You no longer need to convince anyone that your decisions make sense. You just quietly stand by them, knowing they're yours to live with. A stunning older woman understands that peace is power. She knows how to walk away from drama instead of diving into it. She doesn't waste her time explaining herself to people who are committed to misunderstanding her. She doesn't take every opinion personally or turn every disagreement into a battle. Instead, she focuses on what truly matters: her peace of mind, her self-respect, and her emotional balance. She's learned that no one can steal her calm unless she hands it over, and she refuses to give anyone that kind of control over her emotions. You can feel the difference in her energy. She doesn't react quickly. She listens, she pauses, she responds with thoughtfulness instead of impulse. And that pause, that quiet control, that calm presence, it's what makes her stand out. She's not shaken by gossip, not rattled by criticism, not distracted by noise. When people try to pull her into chaos, she simply doesn't show up. She chooses silence where others would argue. She chooses a smile where others would snap. That's what true maturity looks like. It's the art of choosing peace over proving a point. Peace doesn't mean weakness. It doesn't mean she doesn't care. It means she's strong enough to know that not every situation deserves her energy. She knows that the most graceful power move is restraint. She's seen enough, experienced enough, and grown enough to understand that her peace is her responsibility. When something feels heavy, she doesn't hold on just to make others comfortable. She lets go. She doesn't engage in arguments that lead nowhere. She doesn't explain her worth to people who don't see it. She has learned to value her emotional energy the same way she values her time. And because she chooses peace, she glows differently. There's a calmness in her expression, a softness in her tone, and a quiet confidence that draws people in. She doesn't need to raise her voice to be heard. She doesn't need to compete to be noticed. She's comfortable in her own skin. She has nothing to prove and everything to protect. That kind of peace radiates. It's magnetic. It makes her stunning not just on the outside, but from the inside out. Every time she chooses peace, she gets stronger. Every time she walks away from unnecessary conflict, she becomes more radiant. She understands that her energy is sacred. She saves it for things that build her, for people who respect her, and for moments that make her better. She's learned that peace is not found in what happens around her, but in how she chooses to respond to it. She doesn't need to prove her worth to anyone anymore because she already knows it deep within herself. And that unshakable peace becomes her quiet form of beauty, one that time can never take away. She carries herself with quiet confidence. There's something remarkable about a woman who doesn't need to announce her worth, yet everyone can feel it. Her confidence isn't loud or forced. It doesn't come from how she looks, what she owns, or who approves of her. It comes from a deep understanding of who she is and what she stands for. She walks into a room and doesn't have to compete for attention. Her energy speaks before her words ever do. That quiet confidence is what makes her unforgettable. It's steady, graceful, and unshaken by outside opinions. She's not trying to impress anyone anymore. She's learned that real confidence isn't about being the loudest in the room or showing off accomplishments. It's about feeling secure in your identity, even when no one's clapping. She's walked through enough seasons to understand that her worth doesn't depend on validation. She doesn't need to compare herself to younger women or chase trends to feel beautiful. She radiates because she's comfortable in her own skin, in her story, in her journey. Every wrinkle, every scar, every lesson has shaped her confidence into something quiet but powerful. This kind of confidence shows in her posture, her voice, her presence. She stands tall, not out of pride, but out of assurance. Her tone is calm, her words are intentional, and her eyes show experience. She doesn't rush to fill silence because she's not afraid of it. She doesn't speak to prove she's right, but to add value. When she walks, she moves with purpose. When she speaks, people listen. When she listens, she's fully there. It's this balance of humility and strength that makes her captivating. Quiet confidence also means she's not threatened by others. She celebrates other women instead of competing with them. She can compliment without envy and admire without comparison. That level of emotional maturity comes from knowing that someone else's beauty doesn't dim her own. She's confident enough to know that she has her own light and no one else can shine exactly like her. She's lived long enough to know that chasing approval is exhausting and comparison is a thief. So she chooses authenticity over competition. She stays true to who she is, and that truth gives her peace. She also knows how to set boundaries without guilt. That's what real confidence looks like in action. She can say no without over-explaining, walk away without bitterness, and stand firm without hostility. She doesn't let fear dictate her choices or insecurity drive her reactions. She trusts her instincts because they've been shaped by experience. That self-trust becomes her anchor. It keeps her grounded when life gets loud. She's learned that confidence isn't something you show, it's something you live. Her confidence makes her presence peaceful yet powerful. People feel safe around her because she's not trying to prove, persuade, or please. She's just being herself. And that kind of authenticity is rare and magnetic. It's not about perfection, it's about presence. It's the quiet certainty in her smile, the way she listens without judgment, the way she carries herself without needing anyone's permission. That's what makes her stunning. Her ability to be strong without being hard, confident without being arrogant, calm without being passive. Her quiet confidence becomes a reflection of everything she's overcome. It's the product of every storm she's survived and every moment she chose to rise instead of break. She doesn't need to tell her story for people to feel it. They can see it in how she stands, speaks, and carries herself. She's proof that real beauty doesn't fade with age. It deepens with it. Every time she shows up as herself, without pretense, without apology, she reminds the world that confidence isn't noise, it's peace. And that peace shines through her like a light that never needs to be announced. She invests in her mind as much as her appearance. A stunning older woman knows that beauty fades when the mind is neglected. She understands that the glow that truly lasts comes from curiosity, wisdom, and a deep hunger to keep learning. While others chase the newest cream, the latest fashion, or the next trend, she spends time feeding her thoughts, growing her perspective, and expanding her understanding of the world around her. She knows that her mind is what keeps her young. When her thoughts are alive, her spirit stays alive. When she learns, she evolves, and that evolution gives her a kind of beauty no mirror can reflect. She reads, she listens, she observes. She asks questions that others overlook. She doesn't settle for being who she was last year or even last week. Her mind is a space she tends to daily, like a garden that needs care to flourish. She fills it with ideas, conversations, and reflections that challenge her. Whether it's a new book, a podcast, or simply quiet time in thought, she treats every moment of learning as an investment in her inner glow. It's not about collecting information. It's about understanding herself and the world more deeply. That's what gives her that sense of quiet intelligence that you can see in her eyes. She knows that physical beauty can turn heads, but an educated, insightful, and curious mind captures hearts. She doesn't need to dominate a room to be noticed. Her intelligence speaks through her perspective. People are drawn to her not because of what she wears, but because of the way she thinks. She can hold a conversation that leaves others inspired, not drained. Her mind is her most elegant accessory. It shapes the way she speaks, the choices she makes, and the calm confidence she carries. Investing in her mind also means staying open to change. She's not stuck in the past or bitter about what the world has become. She keeps learning, adapting, and understanding new ways of thinking. She doesn't mock what she doesn't understand. Instead, she listens, learns, and grows. That flexibility keeps her spirit fresh and her energy youthful. She knows that growth is what keeps her alive, and that knowledge isn't limited by age. She's not afraid to say she doesn't know something because she's confident enough to learn. That humility paired with curiosity makes her deeply magnetic. Her mind becomes her peace. She uses it to filter negativity, to question her own assumptions, and to choose her reactions wisely. She doesn't let her thoughts run wild or drag her down. She's learned to discipline her mind the same way she once disciplined her body. She's selective about what she consumes, not just food, but media, conversations, and influences. She's aware that what she allows in shapes what she feels and who she becomes. So she feeds her mind with things that lift her, challenge her, and bring her closer to understanding herself. A stunning older woman also knows that knowledge gives her independence. She doesn't rely on others to tell her what to think, believe, or do. She forms her own opinions. She trusts her judgment. She's grounded in her values, but open to learning from those who see differently. That balance gives her a grace that's hard to find. It's not about being the smartest person in the room. It's about having a mind that's alive, alert, and growing. When she invests in her mind, it reflects in everything else: her confidence, her peace, her presence. She speaks with depth because she thinks with depth. She makes decisions from a place of wisdom, not impulse. She carries herself with a calm intelligence that can't be imitated. That's what makes her stunning. It's not just how she looks, but how she thinks, how she learns, and how she continues to evolve, no matter her age. She leads with kindness, not ego. A stunning older woman understands that strength and softness can exist in the same heart. She doesn't need to dominate, control, or prove her power. Her influence comes from the way she treats people, with warmth, respect, and compassion. She's lived long enough to know that harshness never wins in the long run, and that kindness doesn't make you weak. It makes you magnetic. Her kindness isn't performative. It's not something she does to be liked. It's who she is. It's rooted in experience, empathy, and wisdom. She's seen enough in life to understand that everyone is carrying something unseen. So she chooses to lead with grace, even when others don't deserve it. That doesn't mean she allows disrespect or tolerates poor treatment. It means she's intentional about her responses. She can correct someone without cutting them down. She can stand firm without being cruel. Her kindness is disciplined. It has boundaries, but it also has depth. She doesn't use ego as armor because she doesn't need to protect herself with pride. She's confident enough to stay kind, even in a world that confuses kindness for weakness. Her words are gentle but powerful. When she speaks, she uplifts. She knows how to make people feel seen and valued without needing attention in return. That's what makes her presence unforgettable. She compliments sincerely, encourages naturally, and listens fully. People feel lighter after talking to her, not because she says all the right things, but because her energy is genuine. She gives her time, her patience, and her understanding without expecting anything back. That's the quiet generosity that sets her apart. Kindness has become her language. She doesn't gossip because she knows words carry energy. She doesn't belittle others to feel superior. She's learned that true confidence never needs to put someone else down. Instead, she uses her voice to build bridges, not walls. She sees potential where others see flaws. She offers guidance where others offer judgment. She understands that one kind word can shift someone's entire day, and that small gestures, like a smile, a thank you, a moment of empathy, carry more impact than most people realize. She leads with kindness because she remembers what it felt like to need it. She's been through enough seasons of life to know the power of compassion. She's been misunderstood, hurt, overlooked, and judged. And because of that, she knows how important it is to treat others with care. That perspective gives her heart a rare depth. She doesn't seek revenge or hold grudges. She releases what doesn't serve her and moves forward with peace. That's her strength. She doesn't let bitterness harden her spirit. Her kindness extends beyond people. It's how she treats the world around her, with mindfulness, patience, and appreciation. She takes care of things, respects time, honors promises, and values small moments. Whether she's speaking to a stranger, a friend, or a child, she carries the same level of respect. That consistency is what makes her truly admirable. She doesn't wear a mask in public and act differently in private. Her kindness is constant, not conditional. Leading with kindness also means she inspires others to do the same. She doesn't lecture, she leads by example. People naturally soften around her because she makes them feel safe. She doesn't use her age or experience to make others feel small. She uses it to show what wisdom looks like when it's wrapped in grace. Her kindness becomes her legacy, the thing people remember long after she leaves the room. It's what gives her beauty a timeless quality, one that's not dependent on youth, but on the character she's built through years of choosing empathy over ego. Every time she chooses kindness over pride, she becomes stronger. Every time she offers grace instead of judgment, she becomes more radiant. That light she carries isn't from perfection, it's from choosing compassion in a world that often forgets it. Her kindness is not a reaction, it's a decision, one that defines who she is at her core and how she moves through life with quiet, unwavering strength. She never stops growing or glowing. A stunning older woman knows that life doesn't end when youth fades. It evolves into something deeper, something far more meaningful. She understands that growth is what keeps her spirit alive. Every season of her life has taught her something about love, patience, loss, resilience, and she uses those lessons to keep moving forward. She refuses to settle into comfort or routine just because she's seen more years. Instead, she keeps learning, changing, and expanding into the best version of herself. That continuous growth is what gives her that undeniable glow that people can feel before they even notice her smile. She doesn't see aging as decline. She sees it as refinement. She's not chasing who she was 10 years ago because she's too busy becoming who she's meant to be now. She doesn't cling to the past or fear the future. She lives in the present with awareness and gratitude. That perspective gives her a quiet freedom. She knows that growth doesn't always look like big achievements. It can be small shifts, better boundaries, deeper self-awareness, or choosing joy even in difficult moments. She's learned that every day is a chance to evolve emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Her glow comes from within because it's fueled by purpose. She doesn't live on autopilot or allow life to become stagnant. She seeks new experiences, even in small ways, reading something new, exploring new places, or having meaningful conversations that stretch her thinking. She's not afraid to start over, try again, or reinvent herself. She knows that staying curious keeps her young. She's proof that growth doesn't stop at a certain age. It deepens when you're brave enough to keep learning who you are becoming. She takes care of her body, not just to look good, but to feel strong, capable, and alive. Her routines are rooted in self-respect, not vanity. She moves her body, eats with intention, rests when she needs to, and surrounds herself with people who bring peace instead of chaos. Her glow isn't painted on. It's the reflection of how she treats herself. She invests time in what fills her rather than what drains her. That self-care becomes her power, a visible reminder that when a woman nurtures herself, she radiates effortlessly. Growth for her also means emotional maturity. She doesn't carry grudges or hold on to what's already gone. She forgives to free herself. She lets go to make room for better things. She's learned that peace is a form of growth, too. She no longer seeks closure from people who can't give it. She creates it within herself. That emotional clarity keeps her grounded. It keeps her light, even when life gets heavy. She knows how to turn pain into wisdom instead of resentment, and that mindset becomes the foundation of her grace. Her glow also comes from purpose. She gives her time, her wisdom, and her heart to things that matter, whether it's mentoring, volunteering, creating, or simply being a positive influence in her circle. She stays connected to something greater than herself. She knows that when you pour goodness into others, it reflects back tenfold.